Hey, it's Nina Lemtier here, the Nutrition Lifestyle Strategist. I hope you are having a fabulous day. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, I'm having such a great day. The Fibroid Food Finder, my new Instagram account, has over 1,000 followers. Thank you so much for getting us to over 1,000 followers. How incredible. And I've been chatting to a couple of the ladies that have signed up to the Nourish Her app. And I'm so honored, right, to be supporting them on their journey. Now, today's letter, we are here. Why are we here? Because we are raising awareness for fibroids. It's Fibroid Awareness Month, the month of July. I'm doing a live A to Z fibroids awareness series. So today we are on letter Q, and I've asked you to also come with questions. So please do ask any questions. Hi, Smith Halima. Welcome. Now, I'm going to share with you some questions that you should ask your care providers. So get a pen and paper, because these questions are often missed, and they're missed for a number of reasons. Number one, it's obviously quite a emotional, your emotions might be heightened, right? Which is totally understandable when having to navigate something that you probably had no idea you had. You've probably never heard of it, like me. And you are right there with your doctor or gynecologist, and your mind just goes blank. And then you might be running off their energy, which might be pretty low, right? They might be just like giving you very flat answers, very matter of fact, tone, no real compassion. And that might just totally distract you from questions that you should be asking, right? So top tip, when it comes to appointments with your doctor, with your care providers, go with questions already written out, right? Have it all on pen and paper, like you should have all your symptom history, everything on pen and paper, so that you can get very objective and clear about what has been happening, what you expect, what your needs are, and go through your list of questions so you don't forget. So that's a top tip. Now, I am gonna be sharing with you some questions, so you can also ask me questions if you've got any. Thank you for joining, Jenna, Sis Holistic. Right, so the first question is, what type and location are my fibroids? Okay, so that's the first question you want to ask. And this is, and also to add to that, and does that change my options, my treatment options? With fibroids, many women have fibroids and conceive with no issues, right? So it's all about their location, and also obviously your symptoms as well. So that's a good question to ask. The second one is, what happens if we do nothing, right? Because often if fibroids aren't a certain size, there's this whole approach of, oh, don't worry about it. You get told, don't worry about it. And that's not a strategy, right? That's not a course of action. That's just hoping things don't get worse. And of course, the fibroids are present for a reason, particularly if they're in growth mode. So being very specific and asking, okay, but what happens if we do nothing, right? And hear what they say. And obviously you don't want to just do nothing. You want to be proactive, okay? Now, the third question is, will this treatment affect my fertility? So if you've been given a course of treatment, will it affect your fertility? And you also have to do your research, because something like, for example, the embolization, some doctors will say that it won't, right? And then some doctors will say that it does. So do your own research. From what I understand, it's not a good idea, right? If you still want to conceive and have a child, it's not a good idea to have the embolization. Okay, and that's because of how they stop the blood supply, right? They block it with small pebbles, and that can obviously impact your ovaries because there's no guarantee how much it's going to stop, right? And your ovaries could get caught up in that. Hi Zamroit, hi Miss Minsant and Zokolux. Thank you for joining. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask and let me know where you're joining from. We are raising awareness of fibroids. I'm on letter Q, so it's all about questions. I'm giving questions that you should go with and ask your care providers, and always write them down. Don't try and do it off your mind because you might get emotional. They might say something that triggers you, and you just go off on a whole trail, right? And then you leave the appointment thinking, oh, I didn't ask what I wanted to ask. So always go with them written down. You should ask if they're going to try and give you any hormonal intervention. You want to know specifically how long you're expected to stay on that intervention, and then when will you do a follow-up assessment to see the next steps, because it's all going to be based on how you respond to the treatment. So you don't want to just be given it and then you're good to go. You need a proper plan in place as to know, okay, when are we going to do a review to assess everything, and what will be the next steps after that assessment, right? It's so important, right? Because you can also plan ahead. You can do your research around it. You can put yourself in a good position, in a better position based on what you've been advised. So that's an important question to ask around hormonal intervention, if that's been offered to you. Okay. Now, the main structure is to always go prepared to appointments. Go with actual data. So print it off. I actually, in my Nourish Her app, you can track every day, and we collate 30 days of information and put it all in a format that's easy for you to literally pull out what a pattern means. Like, what does that mean in the reference to your doctor, to your gynecologist, so that you don't have to, because obviously you're busy, right? But the app will do all of that for you, and we put it in a nice report format, and it's all clear on what it means, because so much can be happening, but you don't know what it means, right? What does it mean to you? What does it mean for possible courses of action? And then you can go with each month, right? Each report, and it's clearly there, like what should be the ideal next steps. There should be tests, there should be referrals, etc. And you should go with that, and then go with your written questions. And then finally, when a course of action's been given, you should say, please document that. You need to ask them to document it. Now, this is a good way to actually get a very solid course of action, not just take some birth control, or just what can they do these days? They'll just say, just see how it goes. Just take the tranexamic acid and see how it goes, right? No. Get them to document the course of action, because that helps them be a bit more, okay, it needs to be a bit more concrete, right? It needs to be a bit more what next. So that's a good tip as well. And also that helps you document the conversation, what you established for that session, right? So that's what I would say around questions. But if you want more structure and guidance, my Nourish Her app literally guides you on any kind of preparation, depending on what you're preparing for, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's a procedure, whatever. Even if you're not having a cycle anymore, it's all about supporting your hormones. It's all about getting your body more in balance, getting you more belief in what your body can do so that you can live your best life for that stage of your life. Wherever you are as a woman, the Nourish Her app will support you. So if you want more details about that, drop me a message and I can send you some information on that. Oh, you've joined. Amazing. Nkosi, welcome. I'll look out for your details and make sure, I don't know, did you do the assessment yet? But welcome. And please, we're welcoming feedback, right? If you've got any suggestions, there's a feedback button there. Please send us your suggestions, because we are always evolving the app, because my vision is women really feeling confident about what they're doing every day. It doesn't matter what's happening, you just feel confident, you've got a structure, and you're taking active steps, right? So that you can kind of subside any possible cortisol, stress hormone. Like, you can just move away that ambiguity. Like, it's not, you're just comfortable and clear, so that you can be in planning mode, you can be in prep mode, and you can just make progress physically, mentally, spiritually, and you can just take the stress out of it, because obviously having fibroids is not the best thing. But equally, you can't be stressed all the time about it as well, because that certainly doesn't help. So, yeah. Okay, well, if there's no questions, I will see you tomorrow with the next letter. And if you know any woman struggling or feeling like they're alone, or they don't really know what to do, feel free to share this video with them. Let them know they're not alone, and we are changing the narrative. You know, the next generations won't be doing as many hysterectomies. There will be so many more options, and there will be so much more knowledge as to how to navigate risk factors around, you know, having fibroids, etc. Okay, have a lovely evening. And oh, you're welcome. Oh, you're welcome, Smith Halima. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a lovely evening, ladies. Take care. Stay blessed. Is it better if the womb is removed? So that's a really good question, the TT. Thanks for asking that. Every woman is different. You know, I've spoken with women that feel a sense of relief based on what they've been through, based on what options they were given. They've done that and they feel a relief. And I've also spoken to women that have huge regret, right, with removing their womb. So it's a very individual decision, but I think it's important to know that obviously it's not reversible, and it shouldn't be a light decision. Personally, I would want to know that I've explored every option, and yeah, it's like a life or death kind of thing, and yeah, it needs to come out personally. But everybody's different, and I guess you just have to look at your life, look at what your needs are, what's happening, obviously what options you've got as well in regards to treatment options, because obviously that kind of differs depending on where you are in the world as well. But are you asking for yourself, or you just want to know generally? Because if it's generally, I wouldn't say it's better, because you still have to deal with your hormones. If you've got other conditions like endometriosis, that can spread outside of the uterus. I know someone that is struggling with their hormones after a hysterectomy and endometriosis. So they're still struggling, okay, even though they had their womb removed. So this is the thing. It's not necessarily the best way. What is the best way to deal with severe anxiety? Okay, thank you for asking that. There is no best way. I think what you do have to do is be honest with your community, as in like the people that are close around you, your closest people, right? Let them know what is happening with you, because if you feel like it's severe, I promise you, it may feel like it now, but you will go through ups and downs, and maybe it feels severe now, but it won't necessarily be like that, you know, in a few weeks or whatever. So just trust in the fact that it will not always feel like it's severe. Some things may have happened that have kind of made it feel worse. You would know what those triggers are, but the most ideal way is to have a plan in regards to your week, like what your commitments are, and keep everything on paper. So try not to think about everything. Try not to have all your plans on your mind. Get a journal and journal how you feel. Have an actual planner. So I'm old school. I have a pen and paper planner that I do everything. So I've got all my activities color coded here. I've even got, if I've taken my supplements, if I've done my personal development, I tick it. If I've done my fruit and veg, I tick it. My nutritional support. So I have apps because I use the Nourish Her app. However, I find writing things down is fabulous. And if it's not in here, it's not getting done. It's kind of falling apart, but I've got a new one. It's actually my planner that I designed. But yeah. So yeah, my point is, if you get it off your head, you free up space to actually be able to have a sense of relief. Because one thing that used to stress me out and get my anxiety high was feeling like I'm overwhelmed all the time, feeling like I can't do everything, that there's too much to do, and then I can't look after myself, and then I start up saying I'm a bad mum, I'm a bad this, I'm a bad that. And it's all because everything was on my head. So I would say the first step is get everything off your head and also start meditation. Start to meditate. Start to work on your breath work. Start to understand that your mind it's like mind over matter. If you keep telling yourself you've got severe anxiety, that's exactly what you'll feel. So you need to start like programming yourself with what you want. And it all starts with how much is cluttered in your mind. If you start to declutter, you'll realize you can feel much more calmer, and you're going to have much more of a can-do attitude, right? And then, of course, how you feel yourself is going to affect your gut, and your gut is going to affect your mood. So if your gut absorption is poor and you're not fueling with the right foods, then you are going to feel pretty down. It's literally science. Our moods are our moods are literally linked to our gut health as well. So that's where I would start. I hope that is helpful. But definitely don't always be on gadgets. Have some journaling and put everything out on a planner, and you will be amazed at how much better you feel just by having social media gaps and just having time with yourself with pen and paper. To remove huge fibroids, I have, and I'm very anxious about it. Okay, right. With that, it's all about preparation. There's nothing to be anxious about. You're in good hands wherever you are, wherever you're being looked after. You're in good hands, and you can just get that preparation. So, do research on your surgeon. Find out how many operations they've done. Once you know that they've done a gazillion, you know that you're good, right? Now, also get prepared in yourself, right? So there's lots that you should be doing now to get prepared, because when you're prepared, it just takes all the worry out of it. And we actually have a way to support you as you're preparing on my Nourish Her app. So if you want more details, Halima, just drop me a message and I'll send you the link. And that will give you a structure. You can work on your mindset. You can have your diet structure and just start to have a plan that you will continue once you've done the procedure as well. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Just get prepared, and then you will take all of the anxiety feeling out of it. And I'll give you another example. I've got a friend that literally would, if you could, like, she felt like she could die on a plane. Literally, she was that scared of flying. But once she learnt the mechanics of flying, right, she literally done so much research on the mechanics, and she really understood, okay, how the plane stays in the air, right, with all that luggage. Oh my gosh. She's now not scared. So once you get the details of everything, it just makes it not scary, right? So there's nothing to worry about. Just get prepared. I hope that helps. We've got lots of questions now. I have lots of fibroids and the big ones, but I don't have bad bleeding, neither pain. Okay, they're probably subserosal. Do you know where they are? Dijo D? So I decided to not do any surgery. I'm looking for alternatives. Okay, I'm guessing they're subserosal, because usually subserosal fibroids will be big but not cause any real symptoms. You'll be asymptomatic. I would definitely recommend you download my app. I'm not going to keep saying this, by the way. It just fits with the questions, but it will give you a good structure to start building from in regards to the alternatives, right? And what you should be doing to reduce your personal risk factors, because we're all different and it all depends on where you're at in your life, you know, your lifestyle. Do you do a sedentary job? Are you quite active? Like there's so many factors. So the app will help personalize that and give you the alternatives and what you should be looking at right now. I'm just curious, how long have you known, when were you diagnosed? How long have you kind of been aware of them? Sure, Halima, I can definitely send you the link. If you send me a message after this, or yeah, I don't think you can send it now, then I'll respond, because I might not be able to. Let me screenshot. Yeah, okay, I've got your name, so I'll find you if you don't find me. You're welcome. I'm glad you got the example. B Rose. Hi Rose. You okay? Welcome. If you're the same Rose that I think you are in New York. Which fibroids are most problematic? I also don't have pain, but I have several large ones too. This is Rose. Oh, okay, you are. So usually, Rose, is the subserosal fibroids that are less problematic, usually. Of course, it depends, but typically, from my experience and what I've kind of read, they tend to be they cause the less kind of issues. They tend to go, women tend to go longer getting diagnosis because they don't have any symptoms. That tends to be what happens with those, and sometimes intramural. But yeah, submucosal fibroids, which are the ones that are inside the womb, tend to be the most, cause the most issues because of where they're located. With my fibroid, I observe my diet controls it, and when I do intermittent fasting, the bleeding is not as much. Oh, that's interesting that you noticed that, TT, because I agree with you. Our diet makes a huge difference, because if you think about it, our whole body, we're mostly water, right? And the body is constantly releasing, absorbing. And if you are fueling on foods that are nutrient dense and you're staying well hydrated, your body's able to do that absorption release, right? All the ecosystems are more in balance. But when it's absorbing sugar that it doesn't want, right? Excess sugar, excess salt, and it doesn't know what to do with it, and it can't quite get rid of it because everything's getting blocked. Of course, you're going to see it straight away in your cycle, maybe in your symptoms. And yeah, it totally is the case. Yeah. So you do have to, address that, particularly if you want to reduce your risk and get on top of everything. I hope that example made sense. Okay. Thank you for your questions. And if you want, I do a weekly Q&A in my Womb Care Network as well, where I'm working with women that are on active programs. So they're actively shrinking their fibroids, boosting their womb health. And this week, Rose shared how her fibroids have shrunk significantly. And she thought she was going to get bad news from her doctor because she'd been eating off plan quite a lot, but she never gave up. She kept coming to the training. She kept implementing something, and lo and behold, she's making amazing progress. So it's not about perfection, ladies. Don't beat yourself up. It's just about awareness. It's about understanding your bodies more and understanding that at the end of the day, you need to be making better steps more than not making good steps. Does that make sense? But yeah, you just need to know what your body needs and do more of that. And when you notice that you feel so much better, you tend to do more of that anyway. So yeah. Oh, you're welcome, the TT. I'm glad you found it useful. That really warms my heart. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining and, asking such vulnerable questions as well. But, it's all about healing, progress, and we're all work in progress, aren't we? So thank you. All right, ladies, all the best. Have a lovely evening. I'll see you tomorrow with the next letter, and we'll keep evolving and, getting better by the grace of God. Take care. Bye for now.